In 2025, choosing to buy a 2-year-old iPhone might seem strange, but I recently picked up the iPhone 14 Pro Max, and after using it again, I've been genuinely surprised by how well it still holds up. When it comes to design, the iPhone 14 Pro Max truly holds up in 2025, and in some ways, it even surpasses Apple's newer models. While the latest iPhones have switched to a brushed titanium frame for weight reduction, the 14 Pro Max sticks with polished stainless steel, which gives it a noticeably more premium feel in the hand. It's heavier, sure, but that extra weight adds a kind of density and luxury that makes the phone feel more like a piece of jewellery rather than a gadget, especially in this gold finish, which still looks absolutely stunning 2 years later. That said, the stainless steel frame comes with a couple of compromises. First, fingerprints, and lots of them. The polished edges look amazing out of the box, but the second you touch them, they're covered in smudges. Second is the weight. Compared to the iPhone 16 Pro Max, which is considerably lighter thanks to its titanium build, the 14 Pro Max can feel quite hefty, especially during long periods of use. If you're holding it one-handed or lying in bed watching videos, it does become noticeable. But if those two things, fingerprints and weight, aren't deal breakers for you, then the 14 Pro Max's design still holds its own remarkably well. It doesn't feel outdated in the slightest. The squared off edges, the uniform camera layout, the premium materials, it feels every bit like a flagship iPhone. As for the display, this is where things get even more impressive. The 14 Pro Max features Apple's Super Retina XDR OLED panel, and it's almost identical to what's used in the iPhone 16 Pro Max today. You get deep blacks, vibrant colours, HDR support, and up to 2000 nits of peak brightness outdoors. Paired with 120Hz ProMotion and the dynamic island, the experience is fluid, immersive, and visually stunning. Whether you're scrolling through iOS, looking at photos, watching HDR content on YouTube or Netflix, or just playing graphically intense games, this display still delivers a flagship level experience. Yes, the bezels are ever so slightly thicker compared to the 16 Pro Max, but it's a minor difference that most people wouldn't even notice unless they were holding both side by side. So from a design and display perspective, the iPhone 14 Pro Max doesn't just survive in 2025, it competes, and for many people, it might even be the better looking iPhone. Now, let's talk about cameras. Despite being 2 years old, the 14 Pro Max still features a triple lens system that's remarkably similar to what you'll find on the 16 Pro Max. You get a 48 megapixel main sensor, a 12 megapixel ultra wide, and a dedicated 3x telephoto lens, and in day-to-day use, the results are excellent. In fact, when comparing images side by side, most people would struggle to tell which shots came from the 14 Pro Max and which came from the newer 16 Pro Max. Apple's image processing has always been strong, and in good lighting conditions, all three iPhones that I currently have in the studio, the 14 Pro Max, 16 Pro Max, and even the 16e, which is my current daily driver, deliver sharp, vibrant, and well-balanced photos. Where the 16 Pro Max edges ahead is in the details. It offers a 5x telephoto lens compared to 3x on the 14 Pro Max, which gives you more reach for portrait shots or distant subjects. It also benefits from Apple's new nano texture coated lens for reduced glare and slightly improved low light performance thanks to computational photography enhancements. But again, these differences are subtle, things you won't really notice unless you're pushing the camera system to its limits. What's more noticeable is when you compare the 14 Pro Max to the 16e, which is actually the phone I'm using day to day. The 16e only has a single lens setup with no dedicated telephoto lens and no ultra wide. And for someone like me who loves using the ultra wide lens daily for landscape shots or creative framing, there's a significant limitation on the 16e. The 14 Pro Max gives you more flexibility and creative control, and that's something you'll really appreciate if, like me, you enjoy using the ultra-wide lens. It's also a better all-rounder for anyone who shoots video, supporting Pro RAW and ProRes formats, cinematic mode in 4K, and a full range of advanced features that the 16E simply does not offer. While the 16 Pro Max is technically more capable and the 16E is newer, the 14 Pro Max still offers a complete flagship camera system, and in real-world use, it absolutely holds its own in 2025. In terms of performance, the 14 Pro Max is still a powerhouse, powered by the A16 Bionic chip. This phone handles iOS 18 smoothly, and it runs all your day-to-day apps without any hiccups. Whether you're browsing, editing photos, multitasking or gaming, everything remains snappy and responsive. There's no real sense of this phone feeling old during normal use. Compared to the iPhone 16 Pro Max, which now runs on the A18 Pro chip, you do get some improvements, especially in efficiency and on-device AI processing, but for the majority of people, the difference in everyday use is minimal. The same goes when compared to the iPhone 16e, which runs on the slightly older A17 chip. Realistically, all three of these devices deliver excellent performance, unless you're doing something particularly demanding like editing 4K video on the go or playing high-end mobile games at max settings. Battery life on the 14 Pro Max is another area that's holding up surprisingly well. Despite this particular model having dropped to 86% battery health, I'm still comfortable getting through a full day of use. It's not a 2-day phone anymore, but for someone like me who charges their phone every night regardless, that's not really an issue. And it does still support fast charging and MagSafe, which helps keep things convenient. After using the iPhone 16e for quite a while, battery life feels fairly comparable, though the 14 Pro Max does have a slightly larger physical battery. The 16 Pro Max obviously has the edge in endurance thanks to the more efficient A18 chip, but again, these are marginal gains for most users. Now, one of the bigger considerations here is longevity, and specifically Apple Intelligence. With iOS 26 rolling out later this year, Apple is introducing a suite of AI-powered features that will only be available on the A17 Pro chip and above. That means that the 14 Pro Max will miss out on Apple Intelligence entirely. So if that's something you're excited about, smarter Siri, enhanced writing tools, on-device AI, then this could be a deal breaker. But if you're not bothered about having all of the absolute latest AI features, the 14 Pro Max will still be supported with iOS updates for several more years. Apple's track record with software support is among the best in the industry, and this device will continue to receive security patches and performance updates well into 2027 or beyond. In short, performance and battery life are still excellent on the 14 Pro Max, and unless you need Apple Intelligence or plan on really pushing your phone to its limits, there's very little here to complain about in 2025. So after spending time with the iPhone 14 Pro Max here in 2025, it's clear to me I'm still really impressed. This does not feel like an old phone. In fact, in everyday use, it still holds up as a true flagship. From the premium design to the brilliant display, the powerful performance, and the versatile camera system, it all still delivers. Of course, you're missing out on newer features, things like the 5x telephoto lens on the 16 Pro Max, the lighter titanium frame, and all of the new Apple Intelligence features. These simply are not available here, and if those things matter to you, this might not be the right phone. But if what you care about is value, quality, and reliability, then honestly, this is a fantastic option. I personally like to shop with MusicMagpie when buying pre-owned, and right now you can pick up a 14 Pro Max for just £496. That's actually cheaper than the iPhone 16e, and in many ways this phone still feels like the more premium device. Whether you're buying for yourself or a family member and trying to get the most out of your money, this is 100% worth considering. And if you don't want the larger size, the regular 14 Pro is even more affordable. So yes, it might not be the newest, but the iPhone 14 Pro Max still earns its place as one of the best value iPhones you can buy in 2025. So, what do you think about all of this? Let me know in the comments below, and if you are still watching up to now, then hit the thumbs up button and think about subscribing to the channel to see lots more content like this. For now though, thanks for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next video.